I'm very glad to be here today. I have been watching almost all the panels during the week, and I must say that I'm very happy to present my work among such amazing research. So thanks for the organization, Philip, Carl, and Alena for this opportunity. So I'm gonna share my screen. So can you see it? Yes, okay. So this presentation is part of a project that I'm developing for my master's degree at the postgraduate program in creative media at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, under the supervision of André Paes. So this project that I'm going to present today is a co-creation between the Saharawi people and Galileo Mobile, and is being developed in partnership with the Multimedia Research Group at Cefet, or here in Rio de Janeiro also, and is also supported by the website of immersive and interactive media, Buggy 404. So here we go. There we go. So the initial idea of the project Desert Stars was to use virtual reality as a tool to disseminate, and here we use the concepts of science communication. So it's to communicate the ethnoastronomy, and ethnoastronomy here is in the sense of decolonization of science of the Saharawi people. So we approach the Saharawi people a subject, not object, using the co-creation process. And this will be actually the focus of my presentation today. So it's why we choose the co-creation process, how this process appears during the interviews, and what are the potentials and limitations of this process in our case study. So besides the dissertation, I also have to deliver a product. So the idea is to create a virtual reality documentary that seeks to denounce the refugee condition faced by the Sahrawi people since 1975 through the dissemination of their worldview. But before we go forward, it's important to put this project in context. I don't know in Canada, but in Brazil, the Western Sahara conflict is not a very known conflict. So I always like to give a little brief overview of the conflict. So the Western Sahara is a region that is traditionally, that was traditionally inhabited by nomadic people. One of those groups were the Sahrawis, who used the stars to guide them across the desert plains during the night, since the days were very hot to travel. So besides the practical use of the stars, the nights in the desert have inspired many legends and myths in the Sahrawi culture. So all this wisdom was transmitted orally for generations. But the Sahrawi society would change dramatically in the 1900s when the Spanish colonized the region. So they occupied Western Sahara until 1975, when they left without finishing the process of decolonization. And because of that, Morocco took the opportunity to invade and expel the Sahrawi people from their lands. So they began collective exodus until they reached Algeria, and Algeria gave them a piece of land near the southwest of Tindouf, which is over here. And then the Sahrawis started to build their camps, and today they have 5 camps that are administered by the Sahrawis themselves. So they have been living this condition since 1975, which makes one of the most long refugee situations on the planet. You can see it over here. So in this context, in October of last year, 2019, I arrived in the camps with Galileo Mobile, which is a science communication program composed of interdisciplinary voluntaries from different countries. So we have astronomers, ethnoastronomers, science communicators, and filmmakers also. So Galileo Mobile was created in 2009, and our goal is to bring astronomy to students and teachers of hard-to-reach communities around the globe. I'm part of the group since 2014, and now I'm one of the coordinators of the group. So in 2009, Amanar, which is the name of the project that we intended to do in the camps, was selected as a special project by the International Astronomical Union. And that's how we get the funding to go to the camps. So besides bringing Western astronomy to the places we visit, Galileo Mobile also care about listening to what those communities know about the sky. So their worldview. This is what we call ethnoastronomy or cultural astronomy. So what tales do they have, and how those stories reflect on their culture? In Portuguese, Spanish, and I think French, if Google Translator is not mistaken, we use the word cosmovision or cosmovision, which is a very beautiful concept in my opinion, because it's this idea of approaching science from a decolonial perspective. So we use in our research creation the ideas of the decolonial studies. So my role during Amanar was to interview star experts and other people from the community that we encounter along the way, and also to think how we could use virtual reality to divulgate those knowledges, not only to the rest of the scientific community, but also to take back to the Saharawi community all this knowledge, since they work with oral tradition, and when those stars experts die, many of this knowledge dies with them. So we use the research creation methodology, and I just want to mention that during this process of trying to understand how to use virtual reality, we saw many VRs that approach the immigration and refugee issues. And we came across this text that was really inspired, where the author argues that although immersive technologies foreground the primacy of non-meditation, ignoring the structures of representation defends the political possibilities of human communication. So he argues that the images of vulnerability perpetuates a paternalist colonial ideology of innocence, dependence, and protection. And he suggests that instead, human vulnerability should be addressed through the politics of injustice rather than pity. So the sorry about that. Someone just called me. So we found ourselves in the need not only to approach the Saharawi from the perspective of their knowledge, but also to listen to what they had to say, and that's why we started looking at the co-creation concept. So during these interviews, we would not only listen to what they have to say about the sky, but also about the earth. And the way we did that was through non-directive interviews. So we would sit with the star experts and other people from the community as well, and expose our process, our research dispositive, our ideas, and our goals with the product that we intended to do. So we wanted to have a very transparent dialogue and also to be open to critique and suggestions. And one of the most common points that was presenting to us during those exchanges was that it was important that we somehow added the political issue in this product. So for them, it was not very important in what media we presented this. It did not matter if this was a interactive documentary, a virtual reality, or a linear documentary. This was not an issue to them, but it was fundamental that the political context should be in the product somehow. And now I'm going to show you some pieces of those interviews where this point was highlighted. So this is Mohammed Ali, Secretary of the Oral Memory Department at the Saharawi Minister of Culture. And he said that we cannot separate the humanitarian part from the context. This work must have a common basis, a common factor. It is a cultural, scientific work, it's political and social. And Mohamed Salek was one of the star experts that we interviewed. And when I presented to him, I asked him about the model of Galileo Mobile, which is, we use this model that is, we are all under the same sky. He said to me that we are in Algerian territory, in the eastern part of the Sahara. And in the west, south, and north, we can see the exactly same things, the same sky, the same stars. But there is a difference. It's much hotter in here than the occupied area. The occupied area is the area where Morocco is still occupied because there are still some Sahrawis who live in the Western Sahara region. So many families were separated. And Hamdi, our collaborator and also translator doing the Amanar, I also interviewed him, and he said that if you were stars and look down from the sky, we would see the two parts separated by a wall. We would see this division. This is very painful, seeing that our family is partly occupied under torture and persecution, and the other part is living under a precarious circumstance as we are living here in the refugee camps. So when we came back from the camps, we realized that we had to expand our product in order to fulfill all those demands and also to reach as much public as possible. Therefore, we decided to transform this into a transmedia project. Since we are still developing most of the products, we have some conceptual doubts. For instance, if this will be a transmedia or a multi-platform project. But anyway, so far we have 5 products, which is one linear documentary, podcast series that we are sending to them this week. Started right, and we send by podcast to the professors and teachers because we are doing a follow-up project in Amanar. Because of COVID, we are doing via WhatsApp. A 306 interactive docu game, which is a hybrid between game and documentary, which will be available via web. And 6 Degrees of Freedom virtual reality documentary that I can show you some clips if we have time. But I wanted to show you this 3 Degrees of Freedom VR documentary. We have a trailer because it's the one I already finished. We just need some adjustments, but I think we have time. We could watch. I posted on the chat the link if you prefer to watch by yourself, but I will also show you here. So let me know if you can hear. Can you hear? Yes. Okay.
Buenas noches, somos un equipo de astrónomos y cineastas y venimos con un proyecto de divulgación de educación de la astronomía, pero estamos muy interesados en aprender sobre astronomía y nos han dicho que ella es una sabia que sabe mucho de astronomía, entonces venimos a que nos enseñe y nos cuente un poco de lo que ella sabe.
ولا مرحبا بهم وسهلا. نعرف عنهم معاناتهم كبيرة، هذا اللي قطعوا ذا من الأرض وذا من الحمان وأعطاه هذا الأرض باش يفيدون احنا ونفيدوهم هم اللي بدلع. الآن عندهم ما غاش يسووا.
Just to finish, and I can show you this. I have a version of the prototype we already have for the 6 degrees of freedom. I don't know if you have time, but just before that, we know that our process of co-creation is not ideal since we had only 13 days in the camps. The distance is an issue. The communication is very difficult because the internet is very poor, and we are experiencing this now with this follow-up project via WhatsApp. And mainly they have many more urgent issues in a daily basis. So, but even so, I particularly think that we did the most we could to listen to them in a very sensitive, righteous, and respectful way. And I'm looking forward to show them the products next year when we have a scheduled follow-up project. It was supposed to happen this year, but because of the COVID pandemic, it was postponed to next year. So yeah, thank you very much. And I'll be more than happy to answer if you have any questions. And then I can show you also the
yeah, we have some time, Felipe,
yeah?
if you want to.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll show you just a click, very quick. So the idea of this experience is that the idea was is to do an installation. So you're gonna enter a room, and then you have this carpet, you have the pillows, and you sit and you put the headsets, and then you are transported to this place where you can go near the characters, and they will start telling stories about the sky. And you can explore, you can sit down, you can lie down, and then you can go to this near, and then they will start talking and sharing the knowledge. And so this one we are approaching more the ethnoastronomy part, and the other one that I just show you is more the political part. So, but also is gonna have some political issues over here just to give some context.